What's up, everybody? My name is Tyler.
And I'm Steve.
And this is, once again, Super Smash Bros. It's been a minute, so we're back at it, and we're here to talk about what everybody's favorite topic is Star Wars.
So our goal today is to discuss our rankings of the 8 major Star Wars films.
We're going to keep drinking.
Yeah.
I got my Nitro Stout. Steve's got his
8-bit Pale Ale.
We didn't get all fancy on you, though. We still got our Bud Lights. So let's dive right into it.
Number 8.
So number 8 for me, and I really feel like it's number 8 for a lot of people out there, is of course Attack of the Clones. To me, Attack of the Clones is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Ever. I think I would rather watch a Twilight.
I would rather stare at Jacob's abs than watch Attack of the Clones.
And there's more action in the
As
Twilight
a straight
movies.
male.
I'm not into it. But the whole romantic situation between Anakin and Padme.
That was when they were starting to force it. Everybody knows that there's going to be a romantic relationship, but it didn't ever feel like it developed organically, right? It was just sort of forced into the plot.
And you have the infamous sand line.
I don't like sand.
I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Okay, so my number 8, I should reveal also, is Attack of the Clones. We're on the same page. Everybody has this fetish for Boba Fett. Yeah, he's a cool character. It's kind of weird that he blew up, and I feel like there's a little bit of fan service to try to flesh out Boba Fett's storyline and his origin story, and I feel like they kind of misguidedly wasted a lot of time on, this is Boba Fett's father, this is, young Boba Fett, and all
they all
this stuff.
Jango Fett. Jango Fett's his dad, and all the clones are actually cloned from Boba, right?
It just seemed a little, this doesn't really need to be there.
Yeah, no, there's no redeeming factors, so we both agree.
I mean, Yoda's tight, but
Attack of the Clones is poop.
No.
We can cheers to that.
Yeah.
And
number 7.
we could probably put that in, right? You could do that.
Yeah, we're gonna get fancy.
I'm gonna go Revenge of the Sith, which a lot of people will defend. Over the years, they've said that that's the best movie of the prequels, which I disagree. It's my only note for this is all terrible but ending. Which is what everybody's waiting for, right? It's like the climax.
Right.
Right? But like, if you're getting a shitty hand job, it's still gonna suck the whole time until you kind of do it.
It's like I can do it myself, all right?
Right. Revenge of the Sith is something that all of us could have done better. I think. As fans.
Like a hand job.
Like a hand job.
Yeah.
Like, Revenge of the Sith is a hand job. I have the higher ground now, Anakin. Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Obi-Wan is the best part of the entire
Except
prequel
of his, little hair ponytail thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he had no control.
But that's not his fault.
I learned that he is the only person so far to be on set of a Star Wars movie and to be making the fake lightsaber sounds while he was acting. That's the only redeeming factor, is that ending scene. I really do like how Darth Vader didn't have much of a story. We didn't know prior to what his deal was, and then kind of revealing that he was a whiny bitch kind of ruined it a little bit for me.
Okay, so number 7 for me is The Phantom Menace. I mean, there was a lot of hype surrounding The Phantom Menace. It's not a terrible film. I like Revenge of the Sith a little more than The Phantom Menace.
Like a cunt hair.
Just a little pube. Okay. A little pube. Simply because of that ending. And you finally get to this little bit of humanity and you see Darth Vader become angry, and it's like kind of a payoff. But I will say this in its defense, watching it again recently, it's not as bad of a film as a lot of fans kind of make it out to be.
But it's got the
Yeah,
which is probably the only part that's worse than the sand line.
My number 7 is Revenge of the Sith, definitely. Or sorry, Phantom Menace.
Yeah, yours is mine is mine. Yeah, look at that. We're already getting.
We're already. Like, I had them written down in the wrong order.
This isn't our second drink.
No, we started at lunch.
We decided to pregame this time instead of drinking the whole time and then just rambling and editing.
All right, so number 6.
This is number 6 now.
Number 6.
Return of the Jedi. Now, Return of the Jedi is fun. To me, Return of the Jedi is very vanilla. It's very lighthearted. It's funny that people were fucking freaking out about Ewoks, and then they thought it couldn't get any worse.
Now get out of here.
No, Mr. Stay. Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. your humble servant.
That won't be necessary.
Oh, but it is. 'Tis demanded by the gods, it is.
We got Jar Jar Binks. But a lot of people don't realize, though, even about the Ewoks, it was supposed to be Wookiees. But they couldn't find enough of a cast of being that tall. I love Star Wars, but I'm gonna be real with you. As I drink, I'm sure some of these facts might be a little off. Yeah, feel free to call us shitheads because that's what we are. That's a backstory that I did want with Chewbacca.
My number 6, I mentioned it earlier. So I've got the 3 prequels in my bottom 3. I mean, let's just be for real. Like, those are the worst Star Wars movies. I feel like Revenge of the Sith is the least bad of the 3, simply because of that payoff in the end. You finally get to see some humanity in Darth Vader. Still not great. I'm not passionate about the prequel trilogy at all. I hold the original trilogy in much higher regard, maybe, than my friend Tyler here does. And again, I haven't even seen them since they were in theaters, so it's like, that's how much I give a shit.
And that's why it's on the list.
That's why it's at the bottom. You finally see what Darth Vader has gone through and his full transformation. And I mean, I remember watching those final scenes and like wishing there was more to the movie, and then realizing that was
and that's but that's the idea of it being a bad movie, though.
I know
it's
they're not good. Don't watch this if you haven't seen Rogue One.
You should know fucking better anyway.
Yeah,
but right before he comes in, like, where are the plans? You are a traitor, fuck you. But like, that's his thing.
And that's actually the actual quote.
Yeah, but right before that, he's like, raw, like fucking bitches up and gutting bitches. And throwing dudes to the ceiling and pulling some fucking exorcist shit.
So, number 5.
Number 5 for
Number
me.
5.
Now, I'm going to paint you a picture, and this might be a little longer than intended, because for me, I don't know why this movie isn't higher on my list. It's a hard thing for me to explain to Star Wars fans. I want to say I'm 11 years old when Phantom Menace came out. We had just got the original trilogy.
So it's Phantom Menace, everybody.
Yes, Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is my
He was trying
5.
to be all mysterious, and he's like, yo, let me paint y'all a picture.
I want to paint you a picture.
The Phantom Menace.
I'm a little intoxicated, but I'll do what I can.
All right.
So we had just got the digitally remastered Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, as being, what do they call it? Do they call me a millennial? Am I a millennial?
We are barely technically millennials.
Barely millennials. I got to see the Star Wars trilogy, and you better fucking believe I went the week they came out. I went with my mom and went to the theater and saw each of these movies.
The originals.
When they
re-release them.
When they digitally remaster them.
Me too. I saw all 3.
They had all the toys re-come out. It was awesome. The hype was real. Now, after we had just gotten the digitally remastered original trilogy, which is not this, but the remaster, Phantom Menace comes out. Okay. I was fucking ecstatic. People were lining up outside of Walmart. They were at Toys R Us. Like
pod racing.
Yeah, the pod racing
was a new thing.
The Nintendo 64 game. I was hyped on it. The title, and this is actually
Phantom Menace.
That is the best Star Wars title. My all-time favorite villain has got to be Darth Maul.
Oh, dude, he was so tight. This is what pisses me off about this movie, is that he was so menacing, to borrow from the title.
And Phantom-y.
Look at his fucking face. Everything was building him up to be like, because you have to compete with Darth Vader.
Now, like I said, there's gonna be nerds out there that have read all of the books. If we're off on any of this, definitely tear us apart. I don't have all the time to read all those books, but like I said, the joke's on all of us
because you're banging.
I'm banging. I'm gonna bang instead of read these books. But one day I might stop banging and read the books. I might. But here's the thing.
But then he dies!
He dies.
At the end of the fucking movie. At the end of the effing movie, he dies.
Fuck.
I thought this was going to be the bad guy through this trilogy.
And the lightsaber battle is the best between him and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love Darth Maul. Duel of the Fates is a great song. Phantom Menace is the best title. And I will argue that the pod racing scene in Phantom Menace, it was as mind-blowing as the first time I saw James Cameron's Avatar. I think that Phantom Menace gets way too much heat, and I think it's by far the best of the prequel trilogy. Therefore, it is my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Rogue One. I liked
Don't spoil anything.
I liked Rogue One. I didn't like most of the characters, and so I understand that I do not need to get attached to these characters because they're probably going to die, because if they didn't die, why didn't they show up in episodes 4, 5, and 6?
Right.
I thought it was a fantastic film. If this is the caliber of films that we should expect from this sort of spin-off line, this sort of secondary line of Star Wars films that Disney plans on making, then I'm excited.
I'm gonna full disclosure. Had no clue, and I know this is fucking ridiculous. Had no clue that actor was dead.
That whole ending.
I'm gonna pour one out on my carpet. Carrie Fisher.
Dang, I'm not gonna pour one out on this carpet because
you don't do that.
I mean, I'm not his landlord.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was a great film. I'm on board. I think it's fantastic. I thought they did a great job. Yeah.
Number 4. Once again, dude, this is hard. It is
starting to get tough.
It's starting to get tough. The Force Awakens for me is number 4. Honestly, it's so confusing because it could have been my number 1. We've had friends say that we're batshit insane for saying that we think that The Force Awakens is good enough to be our number 1 favorite Star Wars movie. I love it, but it's my number 4.
It's a great film. It was so much fun.
It's the exact opposite problem that you have with Rogue One. J.J. Abrams. Duh. Lost. Greatest television show of all time. The greatest television show of all time. Lost. J.J. Abrams he's brilliant. Because, to me, I think people that motivate and inspire are almost more important than the talented. Yeah. And that's a deep conversation. We don't get into that shit. We're the Super Smash Bros. We talk about shit. And
we're Super Smash Bros. Yeah. I mean, we're just like Smash Bros right now. We're not Super Smash.
But I'm actually feeling it pretty hard. I mean, this is probably the most sober we've been while doing this. I think Poe Dameron is awesome. I love it, man. And getting to see, Han Solo again and Chewie is awesome. I would like to see J.J. Abrams get a more risky movie because I think he could take it. I dig Poe. Rumor has it is he begged the actor that played Poe Dameron begged J.J. Abrams to let him be in the movie. And he was supposed to die whenever they crash, and there was supposed to be no mention of him ever again. And they rewrote the script 3 times because J.J. Abrams believed so much in the character. But I do dig the Poe and the Finn bromance.
All right, my number 4 is A New Hope. The original. Actually, it was for a long time known as simply Star Wars. Nobody knew that it had a subtitle called A New Hope.
Was it released as just Star Wars?
It was released as Star Wars.
Was the crawl a part of it in the beginning?
Crawl was a part of it. And for people who were paying attention, I guess, in 1979 or whenever it was released, the fact that it said Episode 4, the story goes that George Lucas had written 6 scripts. Episode 4, people are like, well, what is this? Did I not catch the original? How are we just starting in the middle of a story? That Lucas was given one shot to make one movie. Of all the movies, which one would be the most appropriate for one film? If he could only ever make one film, right. And he decided on episode 4. It was a cultural movement, but really not a great film.
It doesn't hold up as much.
Yeah, I mean, we can't understand because we can't experience that that feeling of seeing this this space opera as really what it was.
The special effects still hold up. Watching the original trilogy is a lot easier than watching the prequels. I'm getting drunk. This is happening. So A New Hope, at the time, blew everyone's minds.
Right. I don't think it's a great film as far as filmmaking is concerned.
He doesn't like you very much.
I don't like you either. But as far as the fucking concepts, the ideas, and the breadth of the universe, you gotta give it to George Lucas. You gotta give it up. It's remarkable.
We wouldn't even be talking about
it if it hadn't been a massive hit. Episode 4, number 4.
Number 3 for me is A New Hope. It is a good film.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay. I really love how Rogue One really explained some of these plot holes. It doesn't have the best replay value, I could do that. I would skip the prequels. You know what? I would watch Phantom Menace. I would. Yeah, we're out of beer. We're definitely out of beer.
Shit.
Time
out. We need more beer.
I'm glad we got some alone time. I like A New Hope, and it is a good movie, and it's my number 3, and Steve is dropping beers in my kitchen. Whole goal of this podcast is to drink and say shit that we wouldn't normally do. Did you get a wing, too, out of that? You got a chicken wing?
Yeah.
Address. Fucking great. This is so great.
I think that was where Lucas really went off the rails, was like trying to give a scientific explanation for the Force.
Yeah.
And the fucking mitochondria or whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember.
Midichlorians.
We were okay with suspending our disbelief and just thinking that there was this energy force. Like, we don't need a scientific explanation about it. 3 for me is The Force Awakens.
So we did a swap.
I mean, if I didn't have my loyalty to the original trilogy, like, The Force Awakens is a solid film. It is the best of everything that George Lucas could have ever constructed, but executed without George Lucas. Somebody took it seriously, finally. And the fact that they brought Lawrence Kasdan in, the fact that, you know, Abrams created BB-8 because he looked like a B and an 8, and it was like, we'll just call him BB-8.
I never even thought of that. I guess that's kind of a structured drawing of what it is. Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader.
Vader, number 1. Maul, number 2. Kylo Ren, number 3.
And I wish you would have this mask on. Keep it on.
Keep it on till the second film. My only complaint with The Force Awakens, first of all, I thought it was a great title. It's been dormant for so long.
Yeah.
And you're just tapping into this energy that everybody has, and it's The Force Awakens. I thought that was great. I really could have waited to see the fucking giant
Snoke, Professor Snoke.
I could have waited to see Snoke. I mean, it was a great film full of great ideas. It was a way to really bring the right direction back into the series, and for that, I cannot fault it. I love it, and for me, it makes it the 4th greatest Star Wars film that's ever been made.
Third.
It's shit. It's even better.
Okay, so number 2 for me then. My second favorite Star Wars film in the franchise. Fuck.
Number 2.
Empire Strikes Back. And you know what? I feel obligated to make this my favorite. Because it is a good movie. I'm going to get so much shit for this, but how much better is it than A New Hope? It's hard for them to catch my attention these days. It's like I like the idea of it more than I like it. Both of them are about as replayable to me. But Empire, it's just the obvious fan favorite. It's definitely the darkest. We did get the biggest plot twist, which is crock of shit. But I am your father, which we all know that the actor that even played Darth Vader said, I killed your father, and they altered it later in post.
I didn't know that.
Ultimately, I like the ending. I think it's fun, but that's my second, but I feel much more passionate about my number 1.
My number 2 is Return of the Jedi. I just have to I've got more love for the original trilogy. I'm not as big of a fan of the edit that was re-released in the late 90s. Yeah, that's what I got. So we just gotta wait for Tyler.
Jedi, which blows my fucking mind because, it's just safe. It's a safe choice.
I've got love for the originals.
So here we are. So you gave 2. We've gotten all the way down the list.
Yeah, number 1.
Number 1.
Everybody can deduce.
My number 1, it is Rogue One. Now, the first time I saw Rogue One, I was questionable, just like the first time I saw The Force Awakens. I was skeptical. My number 1 complaint was your number 1 complaint. I didn't love the characters as much as I wanted to. That's my one complaint. Is Forrest Whitaker was just that, even that character. I feel like they had a lot in mind for him, and they didn't quite grab who he was. Because the new movie doesn't feel Star Wars. Obviously, you guys know by now that there's no crawl.
There's no crawl.
And it is darker. It is darker than even Empire. And because of that, I dig it. The first time I said I watched it and I didn't love the characters, but I take that back. The characters, the second time I've learned to dig them, and I'm all about it. And obviously K2SO is my favorite droid. I would put him over C-3PO and R2-D2 and BB-8 because the comedy was more adult. The director and the writer of this movie did a good job of making you love these characters, but not enough to get destroyed by them.
Not enough to get destroyed, because we knew that they weren't going to last.
Sharu is my all-time favorite Star Wars character. It's funny because the actor that played him made sure that he added the blind part, which is crazy that wasn't actually a part of the character. But it's the side characters is where the heart is in Rogue One.
I agree.
And I really dig the overall vibe. And that is why Rogue One, as of now, is my favorite Star Wars movie.
What I loved is that, Mads Mikkelsen's character was forced to work on the Death Star, intentionally designed the flaw. I love that. It really redeems that storyline. I thought
it's like an inside joke.
I thought that was brilliant.
Definitely.
So my number one, I've got to go super nerd classic. I've got to go The Empire Strikes Back. What's fantastic about Empire, classically, from start to finish, it is a great film. It has a great build. It has a great payoff. It's everything you want out of a traditional movie.
And I think at that point we realized, oh shit, this is going to be a lifestyle.
It is the second act in a 3-act story. The second act is always where the conflict exists. And therefore, the second act is always the most intriguing and the most interesting. You don't have to set anything up, and you don't have to resolve anything. You just get to live in the conflict.
It is a very big argument for me to whether or not Empire would be number one or Rogue One.
And then Star Wars is tight.
Star Wars is tight. Beer's tight.
Beer's tight. Say hello in the comments, and until next time,
may the Force be with you.